welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Nicole. I'm a 33-year-old cash budgeter in Virginia, and I am a stay-at-home mom to two littles, and I'm on a journey to become debt-free as well as just get my family in a more financially stable situation. Today we are going to be doing our weekly budget and unstuffing to see how much money we spent and what we have left for our second week of the pay period because we are a bi-weekly paid household. So if that sounds like content that would interest you, please stay tuned. Okay, so today, I'm not gonna lie, I've already filmed this video. I did the entire thing and I had no audio. So this is the second video that this has happened to this week to me. And I tried to batch film, and somewhere through the batch filming, my mic died because I use a mic just to help muffle any of like the background noise. And I didn't realize it. So I filmed my entire debt binder video, and then I tried to film like my Etsy launch video, and then I filmed um, this video. But when I filmed this video, I used a different mic, and apparently that one died midway through as well. So I am just not having luck with my mics right now. They are both charged. I'm going to be periodically checking to make sure that I still have audio. Um, So the good thing about that is all my trackers are already filled out for everything we need to unstuff. And I've already pre-written out everything that we are going to be unstuffing. And I put my notepad somewhere and now, oh, duh, it's underneath here. So I did have to rewrite out, just to give you an idea of what I had done in my first video. Everything that is highlighted were things that I had um, unstuffed basically. So I am going to, I just went back and rewrote out everything that pertained to this pay period and this week's budget. And we'll just pull the rest of the money from those previous pages that were a little bit left over from July. I will just pull that and just not worry about going and putting that back in there. But I did put everything back. And since I've already did the video, we're not horribly off in our budget, but we definitely aren't fantastic either. So let's see what we can do. If things have shifted, I did have to do a pause real quick, but I just wanted to grab my pens and make sure I had all of my calculations going. So we are going to be using the Humble Beginnings Budget Planner by Sarah Marie, as well as my online spending tracker from Michaela Creations Co. on Etsy. They will be linked below. And let's see, are we in? Let's go to August. And I realized very quickly, so this is my very basic August spread for this planner. And this was where I was going to track everything as it pertains to YouTube. But I realized when I was going to go put my stickers in to track our spending. And these stickers that I used for like debt and these appointments are way too big. And I wrote these out way too big. I do not have enough room in these little boxes. I don't know why I have two pins. Um, I do not have enough room to use my stickers, so I'm really sad about that. So we're not going to be doing any stickers today. I will say, pretty sure we spent money every single day. Um, and for the sake of transparency, today is Wednesday the 6th, and our budget was supposed to go until tomorrow the 7th, but I ended up sending my son to his babysitter today. So this was the chance that I had to film this video instead of trying to do it tomorrow, especially since some of my other videos got messed up. So we are going to change this to be through the 6th, and we'll just do an extra day on next week's budget. Okay, sorry about the pause. I had to go help my daughter. She woke up crying from her nap, of course. She always does when she knows I'm filming. But for the sake of time, I just went ahead and pre-written out a few things. Very quickly, we did spend the $50 on childcare, so we have zero rollover. We spent 32 out of my husband's hobby envelope, which was budgeted. I spent 30, so I am positive 10. I spent $8 on the kids. which is plus 2. My husband has spent 45 out of his 80, so he is positive 35. Health and baby, we spent 17, so that gives us positive 23. Grocery, way over. I spent $246 for groceries, and we only budgeted 150, but we only spent 177 at Costco, and we only put $200 in Costco for our budget, but it had an extra $50 in it from last pay period. So I'm hoping that evens out a little bit. I think when I did the video the first time, we were like $5 off maybe. Um, and then we put all of our money into our challenges. Unfortunately, you will not be getting a debt binder video this week because that's the video that the audio messed up, and I'm very, very sad about it because I love my debt binder video. Um, and then over here, all of our bills we paid, and then I paid an extra debt a little bit early, so that changed our debt payments to $356 instead of the 245. So altogether, our plus or minus for what we spent, let's see if it works out. This is the part that always gives me trouble. All right, it says we would be negative $3 if I did my math right, which isn't horrible, especially because we do have some money in our sinking funds that we can help out with. So let's put this away for right now because this I know can get confusing to a lot of people. And if it continues to be confusing for a lot of people, I may or may not continue with um, using my planner on these videos. I may try and do a different type of worksheet or even just write everything out as far as, oh, as far as like doing my weekly budgets. Oh, sorry, I had to get my highlighter out. Okay, we are going to go through these and figure out what we need to pull to either put back in our checking account or to pay our credit card, because for some of these things, I are like essential spending. A lot of that ends up being my American Express card because I try not to use my bank card until our bills are paid. And then my husband has a specific spending account that he uses. I don't have a card to that account yet because we just set it up online. And he was mailed a card, and somehow they ended up not putting me on the account, even though I'm the one that set up the account. So it was a whole thing, and we just haven't had a chance to go down to the bank and get me a physical card. So until we do that, I don't have access to that account. So that's why I either have to use our bill account or my credit card. So it's a whole thing. Unfortunately, our credit card does have a balance on it because of some um, financial changes. We had a loss of pay at the beginning of the year, and we lost about $1,000 a month. And it took a minute for us to adjust to that. It was a very sudden change. We were not expecting it. And we ended up having to do some purchases and some things on our credit card. We also had two of our dogs got sick. We went on vacation. So we had some things that came up when we had that loss of income that we were not expecting. And um, we had to fall back onto our credit cards, unfortunately. So we are trying to get back on track now. We're trying to get those balances paid down and make sure anything that we spend on top of those balances definitely gets paid off. Um, I know it's not a perfect system. I know it's not the right way to do it, but it's what's happening right now. My American Express card was paid off before the loss of income. So that is one of our goals, to get that back paid off, as well as my husband's credit card. We want that to get paid back down as well. Um, but we'll go over all that in a eventual debt video. Um, so the first transaction here that I want to look at is going to be this miscellaneous unbudgeted. Our gym fees took out, the gym membership that we do not use. Let me zoom you in a little bit. There we go. So these gym fees right here, I do not keep track of when that comes out very well, and it came out on the first, so that I checked it already because that is just going to come out of our buffer because I do not have money put aside for that, and it's a gym membership that we don't use, but my husband will not let us cancel it because in an ideal world, he wants to use it. So we are not going to worry about this, and it came out of our checking account, not a credit card or anything like that. So like I said, our buffer is just going to eat it. The other two things that are checked off is going to be our gas, which I did not pull money for gas. So those came right out of our checking account, and those were also budgeted for, so we are not going to worry about those. So our child care transaction, obviously that was a cash transaction, so this envelope is now empty, and it will not get stuffed again until next payday, unless we come into some extra money or we have a big enough buffer that I can budget for him to go to the babysitters again next week. So now let's look at our Costco envelope. Like I said, my trackers are already filled out pretty well because um, I technically already did this video. But based off our Costco transactions that we did, I need to switch my pins out here. Um, we did a $79 for grocery, and then I did $80. This was technically going to be from a baby transaction or our baby envelope, but I had only budgeted to do $40 in diapers, but because of the sale that Costco was having on their diapers, for some odd reason, I decided to just go ahead and get 2 boxes, which doubled that. So unfortunately, our Costco budget is going to have to eat that. So that is where some of the overage came from. And then this miscellaneous right here for $25 is actually money that my mom gave me because she wanted me to grab her some toilet paper. So that also came out of this envelope, which was a grand total of, whoops, $184, which I don't have change yet. Let me grab, I will grab a couple ones out of my little money bag here that I keep changing. And honestly, this money is supposed to be for my savings challenges that I've not yet gotten to, that I was hoping to film today, but because my daughter is basically already awake, don't know if that's going to happen. So we need $184 out of our Costco envelope. So 150, 60, 70, 80, and then we'll put the 5, take a 1. All right, so then this should be $184. 150, 60, 70, 80, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Which then I believe was supposed to leave us with $91, which we are now going to roll over into the grocery envelope. So we will put this to the side until we get to the grocery envelope. So now Costco is empty. All right, and there is another, I did end up picking up some detergent at Costco that I wasn't planning on picking up, but it was on sale, and we were almost out of it, so we will pull that out of our household envelope when we get there. Eating out, I was concerned about our eating out budget. Gosh, I don't know where to put anything. And let's see, I'm pretty sure we did have a food transaction right here, which was at $20, which is all we had. So we had 70 and we pulled out 20. So now our eating out envelope has $50, which is quite better than what I thought it was going to be. Gas buffer did not get anything. And now let's look at this grocery situation. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm like $5 off. Yes, so I wrote my little -5 right there that I will need to come up with at the end of the pay period or from next pay period. So with the 91 added in from Costco, we then had 241 in our grocery, and we are pulling all of it. So it should be $236. 1, 20, 40, 60, 82, 20, 41, 241. Yes, 241. We're pulling all of it because I believe we spent 246. Yes, okay. So let's find our grocery transactions and mark those off. I know I'm marking off all of them even though we technically still owe $5, but that's why I wrote it on my tracker so that I will remember that I do need to find an additional $5, which we may come back around afterwards after we see what we have left and see where I can pull that $5 from. Especially because we're going to need some grocery money for this coming week still because we still need stuff. Groceries are so expensive. It's insane. Health and baby. Okay, so this is where I put $40 in for diapers, but I ended up buying extra diapers, so I just took that out of my Costco budget. So then I was able to use, I did a, I needed to get some Aquaphor for my daughter and some Tylenol. So that was $17. So let's go ahead and put a 20 and grab $3. So now 20, 1, 2, 3 is what we have left in health and baby. So let's find those. Here's the baby and here's the health. Alrighty. Household is where we are going to take out for that detergent right here. Is $15. And that leaves us with a whopping $3 in household. But that's okay because household is always going to be a part of my savings challenges, especially because if you see right here, here is a $34 transaction for households that we are not going to be able to pull today, which is okay because I did not budget for that $34 and I did that transaction on my credit card. So as long as I pull that by the end of the month, I will be okay. So we were definitely over for household. So actually, let me write that. So, ooh, I'm stuck. Let me do my negative. So 34 on the, what day was that? That was on the 4th. Okay. So this is how I'm going to remember that we owe this envelope $31, which is why these trackers that I use are laminated because this is how I keep track. My husband was under budget, well, was over budget by $5, but we are going to pull, but hold on. He was over budget by $5, but the money that I'm going to pull for him is going to be what he uses for next week. So let's add up. I think he spent 45, 8, 2, 19. He bought breakfast for some of his coworkers that day. And 16, 45. Okay. So we are going to pull all 40 of this out of his envelope. But then we are going to take 35 of that back out, and it's going to go, actually no. So hold on. Let's just leave that in there for right now. I will do that at the end because I'll need to separate this money about what needs to go to credit cards and what needs to just be our bank buffer or cash rollover. So we're not going to do that part right now. My kiddos, oh, real quick, let's go ahead and mark off. Let's check his off. Because for my husband, he gets money, the $40 that he had for this week, I put directly into an account for him. So I did write his transactions down because I wanted to make sure, he's sticking within his budget. And I believe technically, even though he spent $45, he was still in budget because he did have a little bit of rollover in his little spending checking account from last week. So I believe he will still end up getting the whole $40 for this coming week as well. My kiddos, I did a transaction right here for $8. So we'll put a 10 and take out 2 ones. And I had to buy my daughter some basic like play shoes now that she is walking and wanting to run around and play outside with us. I just needed some shoes for her that would keep her toes from getting scraped up and dirty. The little, I let her go barefoot a lot, but we have a lot of like debris in our yard, so sometimes I don't like for her to be barefoot outside all the time. Okay, so my envelope, I spent $7 and I got food this morning. $9. So I spent $16 out of my 40 on food. And then I did spend $14 at Target on a planner. I needed to get a small planner just so I could try and schedule out some of my like YouTube and Etsy things that I'm trying to do. But I think I'm going to take that out of my hobbies envelope. So we'll do that later. And then this one that is labeled Nicole is my Ko-fi memberships. I am struggling with this one. I do not know. I feel like I just need to make a Ko-fi envelope. I'm not sure. Um, but I, for the life of me, cannot. Um, nope, can't do it that way. Uh-oh. I don't have enough ones yet to do my envelope. I need more ones. But I, for the life of me, cannot figure out 2, 3, 4, 5. I cannot figure out. Lord, words are hard right now, y'all. Like where I'm gonna basically, I can't figure out where I want to budget for my Ko-fi memberships because they kind of change. Like I'll do a Ko-fi membership for a couple people for a month or two, and then maybe I'll take a month break depending on like what type of stuff they're putting out. It just depends. So I'm not sure. So right now that one's gonna stay blank as well until I figure that one out. So we should have $24 still in my envelope. 10, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4. We are making some good progress here. And the money that I pulled from my envelope does need to go back to our bank because all I had was cash for me. So those transactions technically came out of our buffer, so we need to put those back in our buffer. And then for the sake of what's it called? Transparency. This is $85. I made an extra debt payment so I made a debt payment. When I did this video the first time, I pulled all this cash and I made my debt payment. My debt payment was $245. I've already made that payment. So this money is basically has to go back into it all is going to end up going back into our checking account. And this was the rest of the money that I had pulled that was technically from some miscellaneous transactions from July. So we're going to add that in just so when I do all the math at the end, it's not like super confusing of why we're short or whatnot. Next, we need to the golf envelope, I believe is in this binder. Y'all, look at this binder. Hold on. This binder, I don't even know if you can tell what the color is, but it is like this deep purple gray, just like gorgeous, gorgeous color. I love it. It's from Beezysthings. And this was the binder that I splurged on the other week when I did not have money budgeted. It was one of she was selling them through her Instagram. And I think they were imperfect, which this one, the only thing I can tell is like this little pocket right here. I don't even know if you can see it. Let's see. This little pocket right here, like it doesn't sit flat like these ones. You can see like inside of it. So that's the only thing I can think of that this binder would be considered like an imperfect binder because everything else looks fantastic. But I love this color so much. I'm so happy with it. And if I didn't say in the beginning of these videos, all my dashboards are from the Blushing Hippo as well as the bookmarks. So super fun, super cute. She will be linked below. Let's look at business. I need to take $15 out of my business for my Canva subscription it took out. That is the only thing that I have business related that does not come off of my actual business credit card. And I'm not sure if I'm going to switch it or not because if I can start making a profit by doing Etsy, then I'm thinking I will try and just be able to like pay do the yearly subscription for Canva and go from there versus having to do the monthly and then that way I wouldn't have this like reoccurring charge coming out. And then my husband, we need to pull his money for golf, which was $32. Apparently I decided to use a Sharpie for all of my trackers this month. And of course, my black Sharpie is running or being silly. So we're going to take $32 out of his hobby envelope, which is where his golf money comes from, and now he will have $56 left, which will pay for this week's golf, and then he still has a bit of a buffer. So this should be 32, 20, 31, 2. Yep. And that leaves him with 20, 30, 45, 55, 56, which is correct. Okay, and the only other one is going to be my envelope, which is not in this binder. It's so pretty. I'm so happy with this color. I was so excited when it came. And I think it looks so, like, it just looks so good in my lineup. Like, oh, I love it. Okay. Then my little envelope is going to be in this binder for my hobbies. I think I already wrote it. Yep. So $14 needs to come out of here. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That leaves me with 25 in my hobby envelope. All right. So that is everything that we are taking care of for this. Actually, no, I didn't see this one up here. This school one. So what that is, my mom wanted us to go to Target and get some back to school stuff for my son. Um, he's starting preschool in like 2 weeks. And when she offered to go to Target, I was all for it. He has a very, very small like school supply list that he needs since it's preschool. Um, I was under the impression that she was going to pay for everything because she invited us to go shopping. But then when we were checked, like when we got there, that was not the case. So, needless to say, I put a bunch of stuff back, or like I didn't get as much stuff as I was going to because both my kids are in desperate need of clothes of their size ups, and I actually did take some clothes today to Once Upon a Child, and in hopes that I will get something back from that, and I can put that towards their clothing envelope so I can get them some new stuff. But for the sake of this month, this week, I did do $9. I did spend $9 because we at least got his school supplies. And his school supplies, like I said, they were very minimal, and I didn't want to not not buy them. And my mom did end up paying for the majority of them. My mom's in a funny situation right now, though, because she does not have a job. She quit her job because she's not the smartest cookie. 5, 6, 7, 8. What the heck? She's not the smartest cookie. What am I doing? Let me focus here. Let me just put the 10 back and take a 1. Lord. And then I want my 10 back. Y'all. So this should be, what should I have? Hold on. Before I tell, I had 14, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. Long story short, I'm hoping when I go back to Once Upon a Child today, they gave me a decent amount, a justifiable amount. I know a lot of people complain about Once Upon a Child that they don't give great amounts when you bring stuff in, but personally, even if they were to give me like 50 cents an item or something like that, I would be happy because if not, all of those clothes are just getting donated. And so at least I'm getting something from nothing. Because more than likely when I go pick up, depending on what they say, sometimes they'll say like they didn't take certain things because of like season, or they just have so much already. So if it's really nice pieces that I know they will take in the future, I'll hold on to it for a little bit longer. But if it's like all of like, things that I don't think that they'll ever take if they didn't take it the first time, I will take it straight to, donation and do that. Um, but either way, I'm coming out of it in a positive. And I took a toy this time, which I try when I do take clothes, I also try and take like some toys or like baby gear or something like that as well, because they typically always take that. So then at least I know I'm definitely getting something as well. Um, but okay, let me stop talking. My daughter did not go back to sleep. She's getting antsy. So now what we need to do real quick is we need to add all of this up and see how much money we need for our bank account, and make sure and pull that money from here so that it does not get put in with what's going back to the credit card. Okay, so $113. All right, let's see. Is this 113? 20, 40, 60, 70, 80, 91, 5, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so this money is money that would go back into our bank buffer. And then now I need to add up everything that I needed to pull from, or pull for the payment on my credit cards. And I need to start off with that 85 that you didn't see that part. And then now let's add the rest of it up. Okay, if I did this right, that's $593, which actually sounds like a whole lot more than it should be. So let's do a quick count. This is 300, 20, 40, 60, 80, 400, 500, 20, 40, 60, 560, 70, 80, uh-oh, y'all, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91. So I'm a dollar short somehow. Oh, I know, because I should be $5 over because I was $5 short on my Sam's Club or my grocery. I spent $5 more than I should, but then I pulled money for my husband. I pulled his full 40 and he only spent 35 or so okay, so this is right. Okay. So, there we have it. With a grand total of 593 going back to credit cards, which I have all of that right here. And then this is going to go back into our bank buffer. And then I will be back in a sec and we will figure out what our coming week is going to look like. So things look different. It was a short pause for you all, but it is actually the next day for me when doing our weekly budget unstuffing and cash stuffing for next week video. So things obviously look different. I have put the planner away because that planner was getting way too complicated. I love that planner so much, but it is hard to implement it when we have a biweekly schedule and or a biweekly pay schedule and just all the different accounts that we have. Hopefully the jets are gone now. I live in a very heavy military area, so we have jets all the time. Anyway, so moving on, I have taken everything that we unstuffed from um, the beginning of this video and I simplified it into just my American Express card because this is the spending that I've done that pertained to this pay period so far. And it totaled $365. Everything that is checked marked is already been unstuffed from last or the beginning of this video. And that cash is right here. We also had some unstuffing, the unstuffing from my bank, our the purchases that we did through our bank account that we need to replenish for bill purposes. And then somehow we have a total of, oh boy, where'd it go? Where'd my note page go? Oh, we have a total of $821 right here, I believe. So let's just give that a quick count. We have 100. Okay, we have $821. Now, like I said, a bunch of this money is money that we did earlier in the video. I think it was 400 and something odd dollars, which we unstuffed to pay back to certain credit cards. Now, I've already made a $245 payment back to my American Express card. I've already made a $100 payment to my Costco card. And then So we have that 300 and something odd dollars right here as well. And then I also, in the break between the beginning of this video and now, I went back up to Once Upon a Child and did my buyback. And I was able to pick up $93 for taking them just miscellaneous, mainly clothes for my kids. So we have $93 that's in here as well that needs to go into my kids' envelopes. And then we also have $125. Here it is right here. $125 from extra income that is part of a refunded deposit that we received. We decided not to send my son to the preschool that we had registered him for back in February, now that we have found out that he does qualify to go into our public schools preschool program. So, and that is free. So we did get some of our deposit back. So now that is also extra money that is mixed in with here as well. So that is where the $821 comes from, as best as I can explain it between yesterday and today. That being said, I've already written out a few things that we are going to do today. And the asterisks were for the transferred note right here that I have. Basically, is a note to myself that um, the money for my husband has already been put into his checking account. It's not in our bank, so this cash needs to go back to the bank. And then my American Express card from the 300, see, our total was 365 that we had spent so far for this card. And we had made the 245 payment already, and we owe $120 still for this pay period. So what I'm going to do just for cash purposes is that 100, and instead of pulling that 120 from this and taking it back to the bank, I had to deposit the $125 check that we received for our deposit refund. So that money's already in the bank. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a payment of $125 to my American Express card and then pull that cash. And that way, that $125, instead of having to pull it back out the bank, now that is money that we can use in our savings challenges. And it'll be money that rolls over to next pay period probably. But I want to have that in cash so it doesn't get spent. So that is why that is asterisked. So let's get started. Let's see, where do I want to put everything? I did move my binders around a little bit as well. I did some rearranging now that I have 4 of these gorgeous pebbled binders. So my main 2 binders are still going to be this one with from Budget with Maddie and now my Beezysthings purple one. They're amazing. I love them so much. But I did reorganize some things and I added some new savings challenges and changed my savings challenges binders around and everything as well. So that's always fun to play with your binders. But anyways, I need to stop yapping and get this done because inevitably one of my children, well, my daughter inevitably will wake up. My son, I don't think is even asleep yet. He's just laying in his bed. Both my kids slept in till 8 o'clock this morning, and I woke up. I think I slept till like 7:15, and I would have put money that it was only like 6 o'clock. Like it was my normal time that I woke up because my kids were still sleeping. My kids are early risers typically. Definitely my son is an early riser. And I just, was laying there. I couldn't hear my kids making any noises, so I assumed it was early. And so I was just laying there, um, got up and went into our bathroom, washed my face and brushed my teeth and all that stuff. Went back over to check the monitor to see who was awake yet, and they were both still sleeping. So I picked up my phone to see what time it was, and I just stared at my phone. Like I was in shock. It was like 7:30 at that point. So I don't know how naps are going to go today since they slept in, but anyway, let's start stuffing. So buffer I have right here as $33. And I did not do my denominations. Obviously, I never do my denominations because I reuse my cash so much. So we're going to come back to buffer because the money that I'm putting for my bills, let me just asterisk this. So the money that I'm putting in for the bills and our buffer is probably just going to be transferred from our account for right now. And that cash, it won't matter what the denominations are for that cash because I'm just going to reuse it, if that makes sense. So we'll skip that for now and see what we have left. Childcare, I am going to put a 50 in childcare. And let me actually do some minimal tracker filling out while I'm sitting here. I don't know what today's date is. I think it's the 7th. Eating out is going to get $30. Since the first part of this video, some extra spending did happen yesterday as well. We ended up getting food last night. My son had swim lessons, and so my husband ended up stopping on the way home from swim lessons and just grabbing dinner. So now it had our eating out envelope had $21 in it after that, and we're adding 30, so now it has 20, 40, 51. We are going to put $20 in my gas buffer envelope, which is all it has. Let's see. My grocery envelope, so this extra $5 is going to come is already going to go back onto um, my American Express card. That's the extra $5 right here that we're going to do from that extra income we had. So we are back at zero for this envelope, and we are going to put in $75 for this week. I went crazy over my grocery budget for this pay period, but I know I need to run to Aldi still and get a couple things. So we're going to put 75 in there, and hopefully we don't spend it, but groceries, it is what it is. My husband's envelope is I'm going to go ahead and I am not going to actually stuff his envelopes. That's going to be cash that rolls over into our savings challenges because I've already transferred that money into his account from our checking account. Kiddos is not going to get anything because they have the Once Upon a Child money, and let's unstuff. Or here, we'll go ahead, we'll stuff the 90, what was it, 93? We'll go ahead and stuff the $93 for right now. And I believe one of these dollars is supposed to go in my daughter's, this one, her letter challenge also. So I need to put that to the side. So it's actually only $92 that is going to go into their envelope. So I'm just going to put it in this envelope for right now, just so we don't accidentally put it somewhere else. And then we will reallocate that into their section of envelopes in a little bit. So this should have $94 in it now. 50, 70, 90, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. Okay. That way that doesn't get, used in the wrong spot. Miscellaneous is not getting anything, and honestly, miscellaneous typically never gets anything. I really should just take that envelope out, but it's there. I am not going to get anything. I still have $24 in my spending money, but it's fine. I'm choosing not to give myself any money for the next couple days, and I would rather that money go to savings challenges. Pet care was going to get money, but I ended up buying my dog's food last night as well, so it just came out of our checking account already. So that will get paid back already for what we need for bills. Costco is not getting anything. Health and Baby is going to get $10. Nope, and we had money in this one. So let's see. All right, we're putting $10, and now it has 20, 30, 1, 2, $3. And like I said, this envelope is mainly for anything that I need baby product wise, like diapers, wipes, any type of specific like ointments for them, or our over-the-counter medications comes out of this envelope. Household, I believe, is getting 10, and it is wiped out, and we owe money. So let's just say we're going to put 10, but I'm not going to do any subtraction yet because, actually, no. Let me look at where'd my thing go? Let me do some quick math real quick. So yes, all of this together, including what I had not unstuffed, is the 365. So we are actually caught up now, and that is where this $34 came from, which is what put us minus. So we're good on that. So now we're back to the positive of $10. So I figured that out. Did I put the money in here? I did not. So household is going to get a 10. Medical is not getting anything. Memberships, registration. Okay, I don't think anything else. We are going to stuff haircuts and self-care, which should both be in here. My son needs a haircut, so we are going to be putting 15 into haircuts. 10, 20, 25, 30. Let's condense this. I scheduled him for a haircut, I believe, next week. I was hoping he could go this weekend, but the person that normally cuts his hair did not have any weekend availability for this weekend. So I pushed it off for next week, which is fine. Let's see. We pulled the money for golf already, right? Okay, I don't think I pulled the cash. 20, 30, 40, 45, 50, 55, 56. I did not. So we actually need to pull $32 out of my husband's. I don't have enough ones. Um, we'll just pull 31. I'll sacrifice $1. Um, because like I said, I transferred that from our checking account already, but he does not get to keep that money. So this now, I need to have this in physical cash so that when I do my counts, it all makes sense. And that money will either go back to the bank or, like I said, it'll just roll over into my savings challenges or back into my savings account buffer that I use or that I have on hand. The only other one is my self-care envelope. I use this envelope to help for my hair appointments. And we're going to put $20 in here. So now it has 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. And my hair appointment is actually coming up on, I think, the 14th. So I probably will not have all of the money for my appointment come that day. But the goal is by the end of the month to have everything that we spent on my credit card paid off. And that is it, I believe, for specific sinking fund stuffing. So now we need to go into our bills binder. And this would be the money that is going to be basically it's going to end up being transferred from our buffer account and then put into our bills account. And then what I will most likely do is pull this cash back out of this binder once I have made that transfer and use that money again for savings challenges or recycled into something else. So the bills that we still have that I need the money for, I believe it's technically debt. I have to make a payment, so we're going to put 100. Oh, this was the money that we were going to transfer. So let's just do 200 right here. Oh, let's save that one. So let's do this 200, which is going to be my bills and my buffer, because we're going to do a $200 transfer for that. And then we need to put $100 into my city card, which is from Costco. So we're just going to put $100 in there, back up and cut some of that. So if there was a harsh edit there, I apologize. But that tracker that I pulled out is information for me, not for YouTube. So not that it's not information that we are wanting to share yet. So now let's count and see what we have left. Oh, this little dollar, that's for my daughter. So let's just count these. Let's see. I had to do some math and figuring some things out, like always, because my math or my numbers were wrong when I checked. But let's start again. So $229 minus the money for my husband. Like I said, that's already been transferred into his account. So I do not need to put the cash in there. It just came out of our buffer, and now we can either put it towards savings challenges or I can put it back into the buffer if need be. So that left us with 158. From that 158, this 125, I already made a payment to my American Express card. What is happening, y'all? What is happening? There we go. Okay. From this 125, remember, that was the check that was deposited for the deposit refund. So I used that instead of having to go to the bank for it, I used that 125 and went ahead and made the payment for my American Express card because it worked out that that's exactly how much I needed to put back onto that card still that was left over from the unstuffing that I did not have in the bank to cover the payment, basically. So that 125 I wanted to have in cash as well. So then that left us with $33 in free money that is now going to be added to our savings challenges as rollover money for our Sunday savings video that hopefully actually goes up on Sunday because I need to film it after this. And you know how that goes. So we are going to go ahead and take the $33, which 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 33. Okay, so this should be $33. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so here's $33. And I'm going to add that to the money that we had budgeted for our savings challenges that I had not used yet to play with, just in case we needed it. Like I said, those miscellaneous savings challenges is the first thing, or the first place that I will pull money from if needed, and that binder will not get played because those have a little bit of higher savings challenges in them, or they're just for our savings categories, which savings is important, but we have to pay. We have to pay what we have to use that money to cover our expenses before we can save it, basically. So then now we have $125, 20, 40, 60, 80, $125 right here. This is that bonus money that I am not 100% sure what I want to do with yet. But for now, we are going to put this in my kids' school expenses envelope because it came from a school expense. And that way, let's see, why can I not remember the date? That way it doesn't get lost or mixed up somewhere else. But I will almost guarantee you that this money is not going to stay in there. Also, I wanted to show you guys these envelopes real quick. So these are my inserts for my kiddo section. Um, I just made cute little polka dot inserts. I think they're so they're fun and kid-like, but I wanted to differentiate between their envelopes and our envelopes for certain things, like even if I didn't keep them in like a kiddos section. And I just thought they were very cute. So they have a clothing envelope. I have our family fun envelope in here, school expenses, sports and activities, and then a general wish list. Um, and then I did move my holidays envelope that we had put money in from our randomizer into here, and I will then pull this money out and put it into our holiday savings challenges. And I made these cute little inserts with corresponding trackers for each one, and I love them. I am actually offering them on my Etsy shop. They just a quick, Etsy shop plug real quick. I have made them in envelopes for to be sold, and they're in the glossy. They're not vellum. I'm still learning vellum. Vellum, I do not like vellum, but they're in the glossy cardstock. But on each envelope, you have the A6 envelope, and on the back, it comes with a tracker as part of the envelope where you can go ahead and keep track of what you're adding to the envelope. And you have the corresponding savings challenge tracker, or you can get just the envelopes that come with the cute design and the backing as the tracker, or you can get just the set of the trackers that come as a tracker, and you can use it as a savings challenge. But I made them for the core holidays, and they are not in order because my daughter was playing with these earlier. But we have Halloween. I think these were super cute. Like I used to make envelopes for my own binders, but I changed my categories way too much because these envelopes take a little bit of time to make, and they are very finicky as well. Um, so, um, but those are available on my Etsy shop. Like I said, you can get them in many different ways. You can get individual envelopes or trackers. You can get them as sets. You can get a couple. It's completely up to you. I am working on a vellum version of them as well, but like I said, I do not like vellum very much as of right now, so I'm trying to get them. I'm trying to make them not be messed up looking. Like I want to be able to make them like easily enough that I'm not, for every one that is good, there's not 5 that are bad, basically. Okay, so that was that little spiel that I just did. Thank you for listening to that. So what do we have left? We have 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 91. Why do we have $91? 40 plus 31 is 71 minus 91, $20. Where are we missing $20 at, guys? Did I put the right amount into the school section? Or did I get sidetracked by talking? 20, 40, 60, 81. Nope, I only put 105, so there's the extra 20. Okay, there we go. So now the money that is left over here was the money that we had that we pulled to cover my husband's transfer that we did to his account. And I'm going to choose, because I'm starting a bunch of new challenges, because I decided to make, or to start utilizing some, I wanted to do more scratch off challenges. So this money right here is going to go towards savings challenges. It's part of our buffer, it's part of our savings, but I want it to be something else. So that is going to be the end of this video. Thank you if you are still here, for watching part 1 and part 2, and I appreciate you guys. Should be able to come back on Sunday for a Savings Sunday video where we will play savings challenges and start a bunch of new ones, and as well as we're going to start using some of my own challenges. I did add a bunch of new designs to my Ko-fi account, and I did set up some membership tiers just in case anyone is interested in becoming a member of my Ko-fi. I think the perks are pretty good if you like some of the things that I've been creating. I'm also running a sale on my Etsy that for the entire month of August, you will get 20% off any physical item. And a lot of those items also are going to have free shipping, especially if you spend $35 or more. But I'm trying to set it up to where even for some of the basic challenges that I can offer very low shipping costs or free shipping for that as well. So if you're interested in supporting a stay-at-home mama who is just trying to make her hobby into a lifestyle, I would greatly appreciate if you could check out my Etsy or my Ko-fi, as well as like this video, leave a comment below, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!
Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days.